The baby pizza.
I don't think so. Yesterday we voted to hold back on moving forward.
Yeah.
It was moving forward.
I mean,
That's for the parking on Main Street,
interview.
because they're planning to torque bit of stuff on there where you license it.
What now, is it just one license plate or is it?
Yeah, so that was for the boat landing, but this is driving whatever car you want to.
So if somebody has 8 cars, you can get 8 free passes.
Ideally, I think if it would have moved forward. But the Island Business Association, I thought it came from them, that they wanted some turnover. So yesterday we just said, let's just hold off, we're at the, really getting accurate.
In order to be so big, rating has, yeah, but rating has a.
When did you get that? You're telling me.
Since I've seen you.
Yeah. Oh, you bet.
As soon as I seen you, I was like, crap, you're gonna hit me with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do not have one.
I mean, you dropped it. Oh.
No, I haven't really changed while.
You're not missing that. I never wanted to do anything. Or relate to your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh.
But your hand's not sticking to it.
I'm excited.
I don't know.
Something wrong with this computer.
Oh, well. They were coffee.
This sits in my truck, cause I use it. I have no personal computer for business.
I actually told somebody for the.
It's not their fault.
This is where it's check this out.
Coming out of the old.
The state funding is better funding. 47 probably for the.
Oh,
I can't believe hours up that don't have.
I took it in because. Yeah.
But there's.
Good. I have a feeling there will be left over. The line to take on the
It is.
Okay.
What kind of thing you look at?
Yeah.
I don't think.
What is the poster thing on Thursday? What time is that?
I don't know for sure. I have to look it up.
Like wants to be here, so you can.
I think I have here.
Drag it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a scare with Dave this weekend. Went in on Friday and he had a blood test. He's dragging a little not real
The other guys.
perfect, right? The doctor called me at 9:30 on Saturday and says, take him to the emergency room. I think he's having heart failure based on his desk.
Yeah.
So I get him in the car, we
I
get
won't be
there,
at transit.
that they're ready for us to come in.
Thursday.
They hook us up to heart monitor and a blood pressure.
Well, they're down for me.
He's doing fine. The test came back on Friday, and one of them was like 132. On Saturday, it came back at 87.
Yeah. Back at work.
Yeah.
They taste like brownie.
No big
Well,
deal.
I was out of town and then I saw there was a similar accident with another driver, crossed over at the center.
I don't know why.
There's a new recipe. I always teach Charlie around.
Don't have.
Good.
Robert.
Holiday, it's at 3:30 in the afternoon.
I can tell.
I'll go talk to John after the show.
Okay, I'll forward you the thing with the time.
Okay. 7:00.
Well, we had
I agree, they need somebody there to champion their.
Yeah, because I was on vacation for 2 weeks, I don't feel like I can take off a lot more than I have to.
There is a way to do it.
I still need to make money every little bit.
But, so I missed the last.
So you guys provide parking?
Yes, they're funding this.
I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of them will even the state. That's why I asked.
So we opened last week for lesser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday.
Right now, I have. Ignorance and all.
Yeah, everyone's out there. It's a plus. Yeah. I was there. One more. Yeah. No, they had You want to mess with it? No, I mean, don't say Mary.
I don't know, I got some good.
Catastrophes might on this market. Well, 3-year-old. Besides all of the candles, the liquid part is pouring down the people right now. I didn't have time to. By the time we saw it, it was all dry. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think. Draino was great.
It's a meeting. There's something.
Okay. Anyways, the baby's I'm watching right now.
I'd be hard pressed.
That
I'd be hard pressed to believe it's the first 3-year-old to have ever done something.
Oh, I don't like to do that. So I wanted to say something. He's like, usually they're that's a great story. So I punish him by making it.
I don't walk into the room with most nights, I don't walk in the room with a set position.
I do love having them living with this thing, so I can't.
Good morning, Diana.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I am here.
Always intriguing.
I'm doing much better than we were like 2 weeks ago.
Well, progress.
Progress has been made, better than your personal life. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, we, all 4 of us got taken out by the influenza today. And it took 2 months. So for 2 whole months, I have one school kid. And then I'm sick. That's just sick. So they got nothing else to do. Like,
Wonder if I gotta check.
couldn't do it.
The jump.
They are at the stage. And so just as they were ready to go back, healthy, they canceled. They closed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I write it down. I put it so it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
For a while,
Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh. We all got it. Thank you. Yeah, brought it up from school. He had it first. Then, you know, the kids, they just all. And then he so. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, we all, John wanted to get out of it, he was the last one. No, well, like, we kind of just took like, John took Henry to a hospital, when John is still healthy for like 2 days. Like John took Henry to his.
Yeah.
And Jack and I think we like read it, like, I was slept and he just.
I was only in my RC.
Like, New York guy. Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, we just kind of took turns. Yes. I remember when we had,
Did you email with they got three.
They were fine.
You're gonna keep me out of trouble today, right?
And everyone, he just.
Light on top.
You're not lost. Yeah.
Good change again, but
Okay, it's 9:30. We're gonna call the county board meeting of supervisors to order. It'll be a brief moment of silence for our troops, law enforcement officers, and emergency responders, followed by a prayer invocation and a pledge of allegiance. Any supervisor want to do a prayer today? Rob Judson.
Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for providing in us a desire to serve the people of Oneida County. And let us remember that all we say and do today and the decision we make, we are in the presence of God. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, clerk will do a roll call.
Showalter is absent. Kenneth,
Here.
Newman,
Good morning.
good morning. Schreier,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Donato, here. Briggs,
Here.
Ottinger,
Here.
Harris, here. Hess, Absent. Jensen,
I am here on National Battery Day.
Ooh.
Ives,
Here.
Sorrel. Here. Lopez.
Here.
Timmons,
Here, here,
got you, you're good.
you have me muted.
I can hear you, Mike. Only hitter. Schultz is absent, pushing. Yeah, 18 present and 3 absent.
18 present, 3 absent, we won't end up business. Announcements, please use your microphone when speaking. Also, Tina had sent out for the auditors, all supervisors should fill that form out and send it back in when it comes on your email address. Item 4, accept the minutes of January 21st, 2025 meeting.
Second.
We have motion and second, any corrections or changes? Hearing none, all in favor, signify aye.
Aye.
Item 5, broadband report, Supervisor Sorbo.
I had asked Tony and John to speak for us.
Good morning.
And,
Real briefly, the BEAD project is moving along. Tony's been taking the leadership role with BEAD. BEAD currently is sitting over at the U.S. Department of Commerce right now, being reviewed. So I'm not sure how that shakeup is going to happen, but that's a large chunk of money sitting there, and it's not yet left Washington, D.C. So I'm not sure if it's going to leave or if it's going to come out of the Congress in different shape or fashion or what, but that's to be determined here probably in the next 30 days. We'll have a better answer to that. I'm working on defining the lateral construction items that we talked about previously. Bud Tussle still has those on their plate. They have not returned those. I did have a discussion with our finance office as well as construction, a very, very, very brief discussion with Chairman Billy Freed. We are on the executive committee to talk in a few weeks here. Yeah, to talk about the laterals as well as the previously requested loan that Bud Tussle was talk to the county about. At my request, and with Tina's very capable assistance, we did do a complete review of all our 2024 finances that we've bonds and materials that we provided for our contractors. We are about $12 million into that. So that's to be about what is expected with the project and where it's at. And Pearl Lake Tower site, as you will note, we're working on the legal side of that right now. I think it's over in Mike's office. We did share a copy of that with our finance office, so she has an understanding of where that'll fit with the meeting the necessary budget, meeting the necessary accounting functions that the lease would require. I've had a couple of ongoing discussions with other units of government, one of them being the Department of Natural Resources, who has an interest in that Burroughs Lake site as far as locating potential power for fighting fires in that area. That of course would be funded by the State Department of Natural Resources using the Burroughs Lake Tower. And what I had told the board previously, I want to make every effort that we put up the tower, we fully utilize any other units of government that might need it. So Bud Tussle will have the tower, they'll have a cellular carrier, and then we have an opportunity to use it for public safety. As most of you know, when we're fighting a rural fire, Little Rice, Nokomis, some of those areas like that, it's real important to have good fire communications. So we would have access to those frequencies in an emergency. And that's about it. That's about where I'm at.
Follow up with the BB situation, so the resolution was passed by you guys in January. Resolution 05-2025 was sent to Buck Tussle on the 19th of January, along with all support letters, including from certain towns and residents, and everything is submitted, and I got an email confirmation back, finished that, received everything. So moving forward, Buck Tussle should be able to get 12 points with this feed funding as long as it moves forward. We are told that ISPs, which is Buck Tussle, will have to have their application in on February 25th, and we will not know how much we get in the BEAD funding until late July, early August, what the PSC told me last week when I checked on that. Otherwise, John and I continue to work with the current project. That's all I got.
Any questions for Tony or John? I guess John's question, so the final mile, that BEAD funding is on hold at this point?
No, it's not on hold. I checked the website this morning. Scott, that's a great question. I had thought when I would go to the website, there would be a blank page, listening to some of the stories that I'm hearing. Like, check with us later, we'll turn the page back on or off. But the page is still identical to what it was 3 weeks ago. We're still talking about deadlines, we're still talking about, but if you go and look at some web resources that I use, Fierce Wireless, a few of these others, that's the very top of the discussion is this pile of money that was given to the Department of Commerce that it was never spent. It was appropriated more than 2 years ago by Congress, and there's not one item booked up, nothing, zero. So I think it's what, 30 months old? The funding was appropriated 30 months ago. There's not one person hooked up to the internet with that money. So now what they're saying is that it's waited this long and nothing's been done with it. Are we sure we want to spend this money this way? You know, that's a good question. So
It's $45 billion.
and then there's a lot of eyeballs on, you know, there's anything that you would pick up, you would talk about 10 million here, 50 million there. And that's a very large number. It's getting a lot of people looking at it. Are we sure we want to spend that money? So, but again, I look at the state of Wisconsin and the Public Service Commission website, it appears as though that money is, or that project is still moving forward.
Anybody we as supervisors should be contacting at the federal level to promote this, or we just wait and see?
It'd be interesting, Scott, that's another great question, no wonder you're the chair. Wisconsin Counties Association has several lobbyists. It'd be my advice to have WCA's lobbyists give you an answer on it. Have somebody answer to Oneida County as to what, you know, we are good members in good standing of the Counties Association. They should definitely have somebody that's got the answer to that. Where are we at with that BEAD money? Do you think it's going to be appropriated? Is it yes or no? The Department of Commerce has obviously got the final say on it. It's in a little office called the NTIA, the National Telecommunications Industry Association. It's part of the U.S. Department of Commerce.
Tony, you could set out those lobbyists' names and telephone numbers for all the supervisors.
Sure.
And we have a meeting down in Madison in about a week that there's a few of us that can promote this while we're down there.
So I had a call with Walden's office last week, Tammy Goldman, and she had stated that she had confidence that the money was going to continue to come through because it's a law, the way they put this money in, and they have to actually change the law to take the money away. So that's all I know.
Any other questions? Stephen?
So if memory serves, there was a bit of concern
last time we met regarding hooking up to actual county facilities. Where are we with that? Has there been any response in regards to that particular issue?
I've had a couple, I've had one more additional discussion since that date. I did refine our requests to make sure that they were crystal clear. I took, our point of contact there for a ride as soon as he was done. Mitch and I went for a ride. And I took Mitch over to the Briggs Plaza. I need 50 feet of conduit. That's what we're talking. Because when, you know, and I cut to the chase on that, some of these are extremely small investments for these connections. And then you go up to solid waste, it's a little more significant. But I do say this, we have those laterals to find what we think is necessary. That information is with Buck Tussle. They're preparing what they think is a cost estimate. And I also said, as any negotiation goes, we definitely shouldn't see that $1.5 million going out the door until we have that lateral discussion identified and properly addressed. Precisely. And, you know, so we appreciate as a county board, without getting into too much, you know, open session, that, you know, I want to emphasize that if that was not tabled properly at the very beginning of this project, and it was not in black and white, it is now. We need to have that discussion and get it refined and get it addressed. Because we have equipment and machinery that's going to be here in another 60 days. And let's get those laterals completed and let's move on. I know you know, as an example of another thing, the Human Service Center wasn't even on our radar when the county board was considering this project. It is now. And now I've got a can hole right in front of the building. It's actually on county right away. All I need is a small piece to connect to the building.
Well, I'm pretty sure the board would agree with me that that would be an unbudgeted expense that we would incur. If they're telling us, oh, here's what you owe us to hook that up 50 feet up or whatever it is to get it out to solid waste, we need to know that number. And we should have known that number some time ago. I mean, we shouldn't be now be told, yeah, it's nice we're running this by your property, but it's on you now to pay us to hook it up the rest of the way. That wasn't how I thought this whole thing played out, but again, unless we spelled it out specifically contractually, apparently that now needs to be worked out.
Well, it will be. The facilities use agreement is indeed a binding contract or an agreement. That's going to be discussed as an agenda item. I've got a draft that I presented to Tina on Thursday. That facility use agreement identifies the cost, or excuse me, the responsibility of those laterals. And that is in black. And as these projects evolve, you know, you could, hindsight 2020, you could come up at the very beginning of the project and crank out a facilities use agreement. And then you could be amending it every single time that you went in and made slight changes. That would have been another way to approach this. That's not the approach we used. I expected Buck Tussle to simply say, yeah, we can get those laterals accomplished. But where we're at now is we're going to have this on the agenda. That'll be an opportunity for us to get that in black. And you're right, I did not budget, or I did not make any requests to the county board for funds to put in lateral construction into this project. We have about $12 million in bonding that's still available for projects like this that include laterals. There's $24 million set aside for buried above ground, the entire project. Laterals are a permissible use of that bonding. For sure, for certain.
So John, I have to agree with Steven on this. We started out, dealing with bug tussle, and it was an $18 million project. Then we brought about hooking up all the fire sheds, town halls, schools, and we raised that budget from 18 million to 24 million. So even though it wasn't in writing, it might have been misleading if they didn't clarify it, but I think the county board all understood that this was supposed to be hooked up to all public buildings.
And if Mitch heard that from us. Mitch heard that loud and clear. We don't expect now to be going outside of the 24. If he had already expended $24 million plus another 2.7 in PSC million, plus another 1.5 million in county loan, and if he was hovering around 28.2 million, trying to have a serious discussion with us about this small lateral expense, I think we might look at it differently. But we are, timing wise, we're in, what I would see is good timing to make this fairly reasonable request to get these laterals done in this next construction period. I'm glad we're having this discussion today when it's 20 below. We've got 30 inches of snow, and we're not trying to move machinery around and dig the laterals today. We've got a few weeks to iron this up.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, John, very much, and I'm sure the rest of the board does. I'll be honest with you, again, worst case scenario, I'm thinking, and this isn't an uncommon practice, is that these entities can build themselves up to be such a valuable commodity. Suddenly someone buys them up, and we're not dealing with bug tussle anymore, we're dealing with someone else. Well, if we have nothing there, no language about hooking anything up, what do you think they're going to tell us? No, we're dealing with bug tussle. And if it was just a handshake deal, you've got nothing in writing, you're not going to hook anything up. They're going to say, you want to hook up? Pay us. And that's my concern. And I hope that bug tussle understands that concern. I would have probably been a little bit more reluctant about even wanting to support them with the BEAD grant. Maybe there's another ISP that would have been more likely to say, maybe we could take some of your BEAD grant and use that to make sure that you are getting the product that supposedly you were going to get. We're constantly there. We're constantly in the ball in the corner with bug tussle, and then all of a sudden it's like, are we really in the corner? I'm not feeling like that we are. So if it means taking them for another round, whatever you got to do, John.
What I will say on this is, I've been in contact with Tony and John, and they are moving forward. They understand the direction of the county board. They can't answer that question today, but they are working on it for us. So let them do their job.
Yeah, and we're, Stephen, I appreciate your candidness. I was completely candid with representatives of us, including, as typical would go with any discussion. Well, it's not a decision that I can make. I said, that's not a problem. Tell me who this decision maker is. And I will drive there, or I will do whatever I have to do to go there and meet with them and convey our displeasure with this idea that we're gonna, and it is not uncommon for things to come up as you're working through a project. It's just not uncommon. And like I say, we first expected to have a tower sitting at the solid waste center. We finished second. The tower went up over on Howard Gate, the storage facility. So that future may hold the tower, which means the provider, we got fiber, Highway Cape, we got fiber to these key areas that we wanted fiber to. So we're awful close to that solid waste facility. And 35 months ago, we would have been talking about a massive capital project to build a fiber network from Rhinelander all the way to solid waste. Now that's no longer the case. I have fiber right to the driveway. So I mean, in a lot of cases, we've been pretty strategic and pretty smart about getting that first launch of fiber in the ground. It covers our county facilities quite well. which is what this county board, you directed me to do that. And we have another large amount of money available, as Scott suggested. We want these major county facilities and these neighborhoods that have not had good access to fiber connected. Bob Tussle's planning for some construction. And we, of course, want those laterals to be included in this upcoming construction season. Early, beginning of construction.
Any more questions? Thanks for the report, guys. Public comment, anybody in the audience want to make a public comment? Go ahead, Eric.
Eric Rampala, N5776 Wooden Mirror Road, Irma, property owner, 4212 Lakewood Road. I'm here, kind of representing Oneida County Clean Waters Action. Just something I want to bring your attention to the county board is that, we'll be sending a letter, to all of you for your consideration. It's pertaining to a P&D action that's going on. In the last P&D, if you're not aware, the consideration for mining being permitted in 1A forestry and general use has been, is being sent to Corporation Council to consider whether that was legally required at the time, 6 years ago. So the idea now is that we're going to put that mining ordinance from 2016, 2018 language into our zoning. So we took it upon ourselves at this time to once again, as we have said all along, that we don't believe that mining should be allowed in 70% of our county's land. That's what it is. 1A forestry and adding 1A forestry and general use being a permitted mining, 70%, some towns 100%. Nokomis, Crescent's pretty close. Shepke, so in either case, we're going to send a letter so you all understand what our concern is by making it permitted, the towns lose their ability to have input as far as, so the towns always had the ability to either approve or not approve a zoning change to manufacturing and industrial. They lost that by permitting mining in 70%. So I'm going to send a letter. Hopefully, I respectfully ask you to read it, understand it, discuss with your towns, how important they think it is to have that strength put back in. I believe some of the arguments at the time were not correct. There was an argument that less than 1% of Oneida County permitted mining. That was not accurate because they were only considering manufacturing and industrial, but mining is permitted in Sugar Camp, Enterprise, and Mont. So that's way more than a fraction of a percent. So even that number at the time for the council's argument is not accurate. I would like you to consider it, discuss with the towns, and we would like to see at least some consideration by the county pulling back those particular zones from mining and bringing it back to a zoning, either zoning permitted through the towns again, and possibly at worst, so I'm use for that out. And I thank you for your time.
Anybody else, public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to consent agenda.
Second.
Give a motion on second. Any discussion?
Benado? Aye. Thorgal?
Aye.
Lopez?
Aye.
Almakinder?
Aye.
Newman?
I,
Harris? Aye. Fisher?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Ives,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Hammond,
Aye.
Timmons. Timmons.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Ottinger,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Couches,
Aye.
Schreier,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Halowinski, Aye.
18 aye, 3 absent.
18 aye, 3 absent, consent agenda is approved. Item number 8, resolution 16, 2025, offered by the supervisor of the Planning and Development Committee to amend chapter 9 of the United County Zoning and Shoreline Protection Ordinance, Article 6, sections 9.60 non-metallic mining and 9.61 metallic mineral exploration, bulk sampling and mining of the United County Zoning and Shoreline Protection Ordinance. Carl?
Wow, good morning. First time I've been the only thing on the agenda. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Carl Jennich. I'm the Planning and Zoning Director / Conservation Director. And before you today is an ordinance amendment to 2 sections of our ordinance. One is 9.60 non-metallic mining. The other minor addition or changes are 9.61 metallic mineral exploration, bulk sampling, mining. Oneida County regulates non-metallic mines in 2 ways. One, in the zone towns in Oneida County, their non-metallic mines are allowed as a conditional use permit in certain zoning districts and prohibited in others. The other way Oneida County regulates non-metallic mines, like a lot of counties, is that we regulate the reclamation of non-metallic mines throughout all the county, including the unzoned towns, and if I'm not mistaken, the city of Rhinelander. The county, which is me, was just recently audited by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. They did take at our ordinance. They took a look at how to administer non-metallic mining reclamation. And they had some issues with 9.60 non-metallic mining. Basically, what they had issue with is that in 9.60 there was elements related to which are supposed to be only in chapter 22. So I asked Department of Natural Resources to provide some comments, which they did. I looked at those comments. We proposed ordinance amendments, which we discussed with the Planning and Zoning Committee. And basically what this is doing is in 9.60, it's just getting rid of reference to technical references to reclamation and just really talking about conditional use permits. And some of the things that were added in 9.60A, which are line 73s through 106, are typically what the committee and or staff requests with non-metallic mining conditional use permits. They're also required as part of the reclamation permits. The rest of it is just basically getting rid of references to reclamation requirements and just making more general comments. And still requiring a conditional use permit. So if you have any specific questions that you want me to get into, let me know. And the changes to 9.60 or 9.61, which is metallic mineral exploration, bulk sampling and mining, which if you're not familiar, Oneida County regulates metallic mining through our ordinance. A majority of the counties don't have a metallic mining ordinance. And basically, these are just grammatical changes to 9.61I, which relates to bulk sampling. If you look at bulk sampling, all bulk sampling is basically, I look at a metallic mining deposit where you may have part of the metallic mine deposit close to grade. So they may actually go in, blast rock to see what the metal content is in that, that sample. And then basically we treat it more like a gravel pit than a mine until they go forward and actually go forward with mining. But if you have any questions, unless you want to talk for a couple more hours because the board meeting is so short, I'm more than willing to answer any questions.
Questions for Carl? Anybody?
Basically, Carl, you're just making us compliant with state regulation.
Partially, yes, I have a lot more work to do regarding forms, regarding existing non-metallic mines, but yes, this is just the smallest, easiest step, first step. And DNR has reviewed this and they're okay with the changes.
Go ahead,
I don't know if I'm supposed to ask you or him, but,
ask him.
okay,
Start there.
does this give us any better way to hold those non-metallic miners to account when they don't fulfill the requirements of their cup?
Yes, I mean, once the cup is issued and conditions are placed on that conditional use permit, the term I use is the county has teeth. Some of these old non-metallic mines may have had very generic conditional use permits where there's not a lot of conditions that are on it. And so therefore, there's, for example, there's non-metallic mines that are close to town owned by, you know, I'll say Muslim Brothers that have been in business for so long that they don't have hours of operation. So anytime I get a call that says someone's there early or someone's there late, I'm saying, sorry, there's no conditions. But with the conditional use permit process and with specifics on the permit, yes, provides us enforcement authority. Either me through issuance of citations or sending letters or citations with a committee to revoke it.
And that was my concern, specifically whether they had, as they promised, clean up their variations from the Lassig Road quarries that they dug too close to people's homes and the roads. And it's been, I don't know, a year that we've been waiting for them to put in the buffer area that they dug out. And I'm just wondering, where does this take us? Does this take us someplace where we can finally get closure on that for the homeowners?
On the specific Lassig pit, that I don't know if I want to answer, but yes, they have started the process of restoring that buffer and we're hopefully following up on that. But that was condition that was placed on by the committee. And so therefore, we have the ability to enforce.
So when there's two parts of non-metallic mining. One would be the cup, which gives their standards. What you're talking is the violation of the cup, which has been handled by the P and Z committee and Carl said. The other is the reclamation to restore it after they're done. And so there's two parts to that cup, separate. And I don't think anybody's violated the second part, have they, Carl?
Well, reclamation, knock on wood. I have been lucky that no one's walked away from a pit. With the reclamation aspect of the ordinance, we're supposed to have financial assurances in place that if things aren't done properly, that Oneida County could step in and have the pit reclaimed. At least that's what chapter 22 does. And that's where the real work is going to be for me and the committees, because again, the Department of Natural Resources basically said the financial assurances for some of the non-metallic mines for Oneida County to reclaim were relatively low. They should actually be raised. So we will be looking at that.
Okay. Any other questions for Carl? Okay. Clerk will call a roll.
Reed,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Ives,
Aye.
Almakinder,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Stay.
Ottinger,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Timmons, Timmons,
Thought I see a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Aye.
thank you. Couches,
Aye.
Candado. Aye. Schreier,
Aye.
Sorgel,
Aye.
Harris. Aye. Halowinski,
Aye.
17 aye, 3 absent, 1 abstain.
17 aye, 3 absent, 1 abstain. Resolution 16, 2025 passes. The next meeting date will be March 18, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. I almost beat Ross.